Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Mindgrind, a show that breaks down the headlines to get to the root of the story, not just what they want you to hear. On this show, you will have to think. Today is Wednesday, October 4th, 2017, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the shooting that happened here in Las Vegas on October 1st. It still just doesn't seem real to me. I don't think it's totally sunk in yet. It just seems like a bad dream. I was actually supposed to be at the concert, but I went to the hockey game instead. And but a lot of my friends are there. A lot of my friends' friends are affected by this. Some of them haven't made it. Some of them are intensive care, and the mental aspect is a whole different story. The things I'm hearing, the stories people have, are just too much to bear. It's crazy. We'll do a weekend show coming up with Matt and Eric, and we're going to follow up on all the things going on with that and the investigations and stuff. But what I wanted to address today, I wanted to talk about some of the things, the questions people are having is, how could a guy do this, and why would he do this, and if there was an accomplice or there's somebody else involved. So many people on Facebook are saying it just doesn't make sense, it doesn't add up. They're looking for conspiracy theories and things to tie the loose ends together. So people are blaming gun control. And what I want to do is I want to get down deeper than that. I want to get to the root of the issue. I want to talk about, in my opinion, what really happened here. And first thing I said when I heard about all this happening, I said, okay, so this guy seems like a normal dude, and he has money. First thing I said is, he addicted to gambling because he comes to Vegas a lot. And yes, he was a big time gambler. And you have to understand, you can be addicted to gambling and still have a lot of money. This guy's rich, he's a millionaire. But allegedly he was taking out $30,000, $40,000 markers at a time, and he was coming more often and taking out more money and more money. So that's a huge red flag there, and a whole psychology breakdown that we can talk about later. And I also said, what meds is he on? Is this guy addicted? Is he doing any medication? And sure enough, he is. And I got a lot of backlash for putting that out there. People don't want the answer to be that simple, because thinking has consequences. Once we break down a problem, we have to do something to fix it, right, as society. And messing with big pharma is just something that people they don't want to do. And so, yes, it turns out I believe the accomplice in this crime is diazepam, also known as Valium. And it's used for anxiety and panic disorder. And people abusing this drug jumped from 570% in 10 years. That's crazy. So we have to look at that. And the side effects, here's where it is, guys. The side effects, listen to these carefully: anxiety, irritability, trouble sleeping, confusion, depression, headaches, dizziness, panic attacks, hallucinations, seeing things that really aren't there, and delusions. Delusions can be things that you think stuff's happening when it's not. And here, the biggest thing is thoughts of suicide and thoughts of harming others. And this dude is on tilt, and most of the time they usually are. We have a mental crisis in this country, guys, and we need to address it. We need to stop tap dancing around it. I get it. We're going up against the most profitable industry probably in the world, right? But I might even get killed for talking about it, for posting this show. They have that kind of power. But I like to tell a story of little Johnny. Okay, little Johnny's born, and his little baby, and everybody loves little Johnny, but he's fussy and he cries and he's teething and it gets annoying. So they give him a little something sweet. They put some sugar on their finger and they put it in his mouth, and it works. He quits crying, and little Johnny loves the sugar. Well, little Johnny learns to cry and he learns to get sugar. He's addicted like that as just a baby. And so little Johnny doesn't sleep at night. They have a hard time putting him down, and it just gets to the point where the parents can't stand it anymore. So what do? They tell their doctor. The doctor prescribes him something. Let's get little Johnny sleeping at night. And now just like that, as a baby, he's already addicted to medication. But it makes him happy, so they keep giving him sugar, and as a kid, they give him soda and candy and popsicles and ice cream and cake and cookies, and just it's sugar, 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 sugar. So he's ramped up here, and then all of a sudden he can't pay attention in school, and he's causing disruption. He can't sit still. He's not learning anything, and the teacher addresses the parents about it. Well, what do the parents do? They take little Johnny to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, let's label him as something. Let's say he's ADHD, and he's way overweight, so let's say that he's suffering from obesity, and we can medicate him now on both of those issues. And then little Johnny starts feeling confused and just not right. He kind of turns into a social misfit. And so then he gets older, and he gets a wife and kids, and he goes and he gets a job, and he wakes up early in the morning and has his coffee, and the first thing he does is he reaches for that vanilla creamer, that AKA sugar, and loads up his coffee with sugar. And then he's feeling great, so he goes to work, and then midway through the day he starts to crash, so he reaches for that energy drink, more sugar. And so he's just up here, and then when he comes down from all of that, he comes home at night and he's irritable, and he's not getting along with his wife, and he's yelling at his kids over stupid stuff, and he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand why he feels this way, and he's fatigued all the time, and he needs more and more and more sugar because the crashes are deeper and deeper and deeper. So what does he do? He goes to the doctor, and they give him the meds, and it's just a never-ending circle. And then they try to quit the meds, and then there's even more problems. And everyone that I talk to that's done these meds and tried to quit, and I tell them why you're trying to quit the meds, and they said they just make me feel weird. Weird is always the common denominator. I hear people when they talk about this issues, is it makes them feel weird. And people have bad thoughts, and they have thoughts of suicide and doing harms to others. And most of them don't act on it, but a lot of them do. And they end up doing harm to themselves, and unfortunately, like in this case, to a lot of other innocent people. So the distraction from all of this is the news can't talk about it. If they do, they're going to lose billions of dollars in sponsorship money, and that's not going to be good. So, how do you tap dance around it? You cause a conspiracy theory, people wanting to look for other shooters, and, the guy was framed, and blah, 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 and whose fault was it, and did we have enough security, and how do we plan for this in the future, and let's blame guns, let's blame it on gun control, and I won't even get into that's another story. The strictest gun laws are in Chicago, and they have the biggest problems. So if this, I'm a strong believer that if this crime was committed with a bomb, more people would have been dead. So these guys will find ways to do these crimes. And certainly you can't just run around with guns like Jesse James robbing trains, so that needs to be a separate discussion, and it needs to be had, but it is not what is to blame for these mass killings and these crazy, crazy things that keep happening. Guys, problems are only solved when they're stopped being ignored. Get this going, talk about it, like this and share it on Facebook, and keep the conversation going. I want to thank my sponsor, Misty Chadwick, with the Chadwick Family Allstate Agency. Any insurance you need, guys, she's the best. Life insurance, homeowners, renters, car insurance. I've been with Misty a long, long time. Their team is always available, and I've never had an issue, not at all. So call them, 702-451-4409. Misty, thank you. By the way, guys, my sponsors, Misty's opinion is not necessarily my opinion. Her thoughts and views are different than mine. Just because she sponsors the show does not mean she always agrees with me, but she should. Also, Thrive. I've been thriving 2.5 years, and it's changed my life. I'll never go without it. It fills the nutritional gaps, and it helps me fight cravings. So if you want some information on Thrive, reach out to me, and I'll get that to you. Thanks for listening. Share it, like it, keep the conversation going. We'll see you this weekend. And for God's sakes, man, be kind to each other.